record it right to this computer. So hello, and thank you everyone for showing up, and especially for taking the time out of your busy schedule, because this is all about you. I like to call it your big, bold, beautiful life, and it's calling. So are you ready to answer? I hope that's a big resounding yes from all of you. Someone that I truly look up to is Reverend Michael Beckwith. And he, if you're not familiar with him, but he is a spiritual leader. He started the Agape International Spiritual Center over by LA. And it's a movement that stands for love and peace and just bringing in a benevolent presence into the world. Whoops, we got more coming in. And so he had this beautiful quote to share. Our society will evolve on the powerful energies of women who love themselves and are powerful enough to be themselves. And I just love that there's this divine feminine energy that's coming in. We're going to be talking about that quite a bit. I'm Kathy Basil, for those who don't know, and it's my honor to be your transformational guide for this evening. We're going to take a little tour, a little experiential, because I truly believe this is all about transformation. This isn't about gathering more information. This is about transformation, which really means it's like an energetic shift. It's a shift on the level of our beingness. And we want to infuse some of that goodness of stretching our vision into who it is you want to be, and then just infuse ourselves with that. So it becomes who we are. So to me, that's what transformation is. It's not about the next certification. It's not about those kinds of things. It's about an elemental shift in our identity of who we see ourselves to be, or as like Gandhi said, be the change. So rather than all the doingness and the busyness that comes from outside of ourselves, we're looking to create from the inside out the shift that's going to make the difference. So I talk a lot in terms of like law of attraction. I think everybody on this call right now is somebody who's completely into that conversation. So the law of attraction, and the world that we're living in is completely one of energy. And when we talk in terms of attracting, we get to, at this moment in time, get really intentional about what it is that we want to create in our lives, and recognize that the things that are happening for us, and there's lots of contrast coming on. There's lots of transition that's happening. It's all being kicked up. And while at times it can be uncomfortable, at the same time, it's opening up a great possibility for us to bring up this old stuff, to unhook from those old dialogues that might keep us kind of connected to the past patterns that we've been running in the background, because we recognize that the things that are happening, 95% of the things that are manifesting are happening because of the programs that we're running on that subconscious level. So what we're looking to do is bring a little bit more of that conscious, from the unconscious to the awareness, so that we can kind of put a name to it or move beyond it at some point in time. And so we're going to take a little tour on that level. So here's some of the magic I'd like to co-create with you all tonight. The first is just essentially getting clarity on what it is that we want. T. Harv Eker, love, right? He's the author of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind and created the Peak Potentials. But he said that one of the top reasons people don't get what it is that they want is that they're just not clear on what it is that they want. So that's going to be step one, a little bit of clarity. And we want to get some specificity to that too. Have you ever put out to the universe of like, I'm intending this, and I want to travel, and now I'm homeless and living only in a van, traveling around, but I'm liking that. But you ask for something, it's like, oh man, I should have remembered to ask. I got the mountain biking guy, but he doesn't have he doesn't have a home, whatever. So done that one. So the first thing is just getting clarity on what it is that we want. The second, I'm going to take us on a little tour of my perspective of what the feminine energy is that's happening right now. The divine feminine is a shift that's coming in. And when we align with that, the powers that are coming in, hey, Miss Tammy, when we align with the new paradigm that's coming in, it actually is one in which I think addresses something that I think is core in all of our desire right now, is that we've been caught up in that masculine, efforting energy, really smart energy. But there's a lot of pushing in that's not necessarily inherent for us ladies. And I think a lot of us, we have that spark within us, and yet at the same time, we're kind of feeling burnt like ashes. So what we want to do, the embers in there, we're going to blow a little breeze on that and allow that ember to spark up tonight, but in a way that becomes in alignment with the way that we naturally operate in the world. So that's kind of fun. And then the third is we've been picking up lots of old habits. So another fellow I just adore, Dr. Joe Dispenza. And so the neuroscience around this and breaking the habit of being you, right? That's one of his first books. But essentially those patterns that we picked up, and a lot of them are those childhood days. And when you think about how long that is, that we've been carrying those patterns, and again, we store them away in that subconscious, not aware that this is what's driving some of the choices that we're making. So we want to go back, the emotional wounds that we haven't necessarily processed. We might have done it up here and thinking that we processed it before, but as we evolve, some of these old patterns come up again. And it's like, gosh, I could have sworn I addressed that before, and you have, but we get to do it on a whole new level. We're just going to sweep some of that away, and I'm going to take us on an experience again to do some of that. So let's dive right in. Actually, should we maybe do a little quick around the rooms and kind of hellos, and if you would tell me what an element might be that you might like to get from this evening. Maybe what you've got, what your big, bold, beautiful life might look like. Maybe you've got no idea, or maybe you just came here to support me, whatever. But if you could just go around, tell us where you're from and give us a little spark about what's happening in your life. So Tina, you're top and center for me. So I'm going to pick on you first.
Oh, hi everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Tina from the Philippines, all the way from the Philippines, and I am Kathy's virtual assistant. So, first, I'm here to support her, wish her your success. Yeah, but of course, at the same time, I'd be glad to learn a little bit more about it, discover a little things about it. But of course, let's try all together. I know there's something in me that I could still discover. It's really my pleasure to attend to this one. Thank you. Nice meeting you
Yeah,
all.
I'll try to keep from talking too fast so you can follow. I get jazzed about this stuff. And so I can tell you actually
Okay.
one of something that's part of why you and Tori are here is a vision that I have. So my La Femme Salon is a program that I've created. I'm super passionate about sharing that with the world, and that was my intention that I thought was going to be for 2022 until I saw that Tony Robbins, man, and I love him. I'm certified with did some studies with him, and he's got that powerful program, Unleash the Power Within. And then he did one specific for women called Unleash Her Power Within. And they had 75,000 women sign up for this thing. And so it was like, oh my gosh, I'm great that I'm creating my program, but it's like the shift is huge. It's huge. So when we begin to up level our sites, one of the things that's really important for us to remember to do is to step into the vision even before we know how, but is to ask for support. So thank you for being my support. So with that, Tori, I'm going to call on you next, since you are the dynamic duo here.
Well, I'm Tori. I'm from Ohio. I am a VA coach and a virtual assistant. I am here for support, but I would like to know what my big, bold, beautiful life would look like. What is that?
But yeah, so
I really would like to know. But I am also here for support, my team, and for Kathy.
Yeah, awesomeness. Cool. Aralia, how about you?
There's a unmute button. I am a holistic health coach. And what else did you want to know?
What's your big, bold, beautiful life? Is there something that's popping up for you? You got a vision, or maybe you don't know what the heck that is yet.
I've been thinking a lot about starting to incorporate more cooking into my coaching. And so I envision a house that's got all of the latest equipment, and the utensils I pretty much have, but a big, beautiful stove and a long table where people can come and take cooking classes, because I love to teach cooking.
Awesomeness. Mark, I'm going to pick on you now. Since is that a horse tooth bend? Is that what that is?
You're very good. It's actually Dead Horse Point.
Dead Horse Point. Okay.
And it's one of my favorite places to be, because we're looking at a glimpse of eternity there. You're looking at 275 million years of creation.
Wow.
And erosion. So I love that place. It's one of my favorite places to be, and I'm not far from it. So right now, I'm an Earthling. So hello, fellow Earthlings. I love this planet. I love the geology. I love the people. I love the food. I love all the things that go on this planet, and that's why I am here. The end, we have reached the end of the experiment of the divine masculine and divine feminine, where the divine masculine led, and now the power is being restored back to the divine feminine. And that has been it has been an Earth experiment. That's why we're seeing the reemergence and the re-embracement of the divine feminine, because this is a spiritual experiment that has come to conclusion. And I recognize this very clearly, and I'm incorporating more of this into my work, where we have to bring the lover energy of the divine feminine into the world of the divine masculine, which has been dominated by warrior energy. And it's the blend of those two that will allow companies to go forward into the future through this transformational economy. That's the big, bold vision that I am in the midst of.
I love that. And I love hearing the word divine masculine too, because masculine's been bastardized for a long time around too, kind of beaten into that warrior role that never was meant to be. So yeah, I can't wait to catch up with you so much more, Mark. Awesome. Joanna.
Hello, I am Joanna. Now, I was multitasking, and what is the question that I am answering?
Your big, bold, beautiful vision. I know you're stepping into some crazy big things.
My big, bold, beautiful vision is to touch every heart and mind with the soul power light that they are divinely created with. That's my vision, is that they can activate their light and use their power. That's really my soul vision.
Yeah. And a big identity shift coming out from being a massage therapist. And look how you are just, I love the background. That's so you, the butterfly, your wings are spread and ready to fly. So awesomeness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Miss Tammy.
Hello. Well, I am Tammy. I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I am here to discover, I guess, what my big, bold, beautiful life could look like for me. I'm going through some pretty big changes in life, and kind of just feel like I've lost my vision or my identity, I guess, with the changes that I've gone. So I'm hoping that this will give me a little bit more clarity in my big, bold, beautiful life that's ahead of me.
Love it. And going back to the butterfly, it's like, the butterfly comes, it's kind of a little caterpillar crawling along for a while, and then it's time with the cocoon. They go through that process and become goo. So it's like sometimes that's like the best place to be, is just that completely dissolving who you've known yourself to be up until now, so that you can fully step into the magic of what's about to unveil itself. So I love that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us, Tammy.
Thank you.
May, do you want to go? How about you, Robin?
Sure. Hi, I'm Robin. I'm in Boulder, Colorado.
Hey.
And, I've had a lot of big dreams, and some of them manifested in easy ways. And I'm at a place now in my life where a lot of changes have happened, and I'm just landing back on my feet again. And so I'm ready to kind of take the brakes off. And I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing yet.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
I love that spot. And that's a lot to me what the divine feminine spot is, kind of like landing into the heart space and finding the courage within to take the steps before the way is clear, because it unfolds in different ways. So I know that I just saw from LinkedIn, I can't wait to connect with you some more, but the beautiful work you're doing in the world too. We'll have a lot to talk about. Awesome. And Wilma Jones, my goodness, how are you? She might be on mute for a bit here. Or Irina, do you want to dive in? All right. And we've got someone by the name of Zoom User. I've seen that name before, but I don't know who that would be. And that's okay. If you want to chime in later, feel free to. And this is an interactive thing, guys, because we're all in this together essentially, but it's time for us to get back to creating the magic that we came here to be. So that's kind of been lost by the wayside for a while here. And I think it's time for us to wake that up, because truly the world needs a little shift going on. And that happens when we stand up into the magic that is, can be unveiled in that divine feminine. So, that can look a lot of different ways. So for those who are really craving to explore that, I'll be sharing a little bit more about how we continue after tonight. But as I said, what I really wanted to do is give us a felt sense for some of the shift that can happen with some of this. So, but I just want to set the tone, because the brave truth is that everything you need is within you now. And a lot of the orientation that we've had up until now, and hey, this has been my world for a long time. I had a meeting planning business. And so I'm really good using that outward orientation and the thinking brain to set the linear, creating the timelines and the budgets and all orchestrating many, many different resources into one orchestra. And it's been fun for a long time. And yet what we're being called to right now is a different orientation. So instead of all this outward orientation, finding our identity by the roles we've been playing, it's an invitation for us to go within and begin to source our identity based on those innate gifts that we came here to express into the world. And it's such a beautiful thing. Robin, talk about, getting in touch with those gifts, and when we align with those, how things flow with ease. That's what we're going to lean into just a touch. So I wanted to start just with a quick, and what I love too about when we align with the divine, with that higher sense of ourselves, that part of ourselves that's innate, but it's part of the bigger side of us. You might call it your higher self or your divine self or essential self, that higher part of us that already has the connected. I think of it, it's still part of the bigger ocean of all that is on the other side. And that's the connection point that allows us to connect with the consciousness of anything, any wisdom that you choose. If we can align with that higher self, we can literally, it makes me think of the piece of the Matrix in the movie when he wanted to learn Kung Fu and he could just go in, and it was almost like one of the old record players where you would, the jukebox where you could say, okay, I want to learn E5, and online would come this information and we can download it. And so information also, when we're aligning with the divine information, it comes in blocks of information. It's not a linear like conversation that comes in sentence by sentence. It's a felt sense, and it can be an image or it can be a whole block of information that can download. And that's what I love guiding people through. So I'm going to just do a quick one here. And first, how about if we just take a nice deep breath, bringing ourselves present right now and recognizing for this next hour, we're going to go into this little chamber together, that everything outside of us can be left for the next hour, and allow our thinking brain to have the next hour, if not a little bit more off. It's been working overtime. and just now allow that inner self of yours, that inner guidance to take the helm. So if you will just kind of sit up, we'll take some deep breaths, connecting to the power of the breath. There's so much power. And when we set our intention to go within, taking some nice deep breaths and connecting with that higher you, expanding out into the limitless possibilities that are available to us when we ascend, connect, channel all the goodness that's online for you. Bring the focus right into the heart space, illuminating that with bright, healing, white light. Unconditional love, perhaps expanding out. Infusing those desires of whatever elements you would like to include. I want ease, flow, peace, groundedness, clarity, power. We can, just by attention alone, allowing those to come into our heart space, allowing that to infuse every cell in your body, 9 trillion cells awash with the exact intention you're calling in. Imagine your intention calling in that higher self to sit side by side, asking for some clarity. What does your big, bold, beautiful life look like? Maybe it's not clear clarity. Maybe there's just elements of it. Who are you working with? Or who's around you? Where are you calling from? Where are you traveling to? What values are you growing into? What gifts are you here to expand into? How much love are you capable of expressing for yourself? Taking some nice deep breaths, coming on back. And imagine. I'd be curious if anyone would like to popcorn really quick, if stuff popped up quickly for you. Joanna, can I pick on you? Thought I could.
Of course.
Yeah. So what comes up when you think of your big, bold, beautiful life and having your divine self there to be your guidance for you?
I think what came up was more, I think you used the word expansion. And it was almost like a fear that came up more so than I'm happy for it. It was more of a nervousness kind of fear that came up as opposed to excitement.
I'm so glad you said that. Yeah. And so this is something interesting I find, because when we're expanding into that, like a lot of times yesterday I just kind of posted about the tall poppy syndrome. Like in Australia, they have a saying that you don't want to be the tall poppy, because essentially you'll have the field of poppies and everybody's the same level, but the one that grows up first is going to be the one that gets its head popped off. So there's been a collective messaging about being safe and kind of blending in, and Brene Brown's beautiful work about belonging and needing to fit in, that oftentimes if we are the first ones to rise above, we're no longer going to fit in. And so take that fear, and everyone, I invite you to do this. If there's some feelings that felt like trepidation or something like that, ask this question about it. How much of that doesn't even belong to you? And it's fascinating because most times it's about 80 to 85% of it isn't even ours. And it's like, write that one down, put it on a Post-it note, because we need to use that question like a dozen times a day. How much of this doesn't even belong to me? Because we are in a time of upheaval. So we've got like the Magic trilogy happening right now, where we've got, pandemic time, how crazy, and how fascinating when you think about evolution and everybody being forced to go within for an entire year. And now the Great Resignation, which I like to call the Great Recalibration, because we're asking what's meaningful, how do I bring my life together and put the pieces in a way that's meaningful to me, but I want to make a difference in the world. Like, this world needs some difference making, right? So we've got that, we've got the divine feminine, and we've got these collective messages, and yet here we are on our personal journeys all at the same time. So if you use that question, how much of this doesn't even belong to me? It's a great way to quickly peel off that, and then just use whatever tool. So you can create your own magic wand and just say, I clear and transmute that, or I release and let that go. Whatever it is for you, just allow it to go, snap, whatever you need to do. But just recognize that we're going to have those feelings. And oftentimes fear, when it comes up like that, it's like, ooh, that feels scary. But what if scary is like, something that's exhilarating, like skiing? Here you are at the top, you got off the lift and you look down, it's like, oh, I meant to get off at the blue lift, but here I am on this black, and there's that, uh-oh, because we don't know the way. And yet if we can learn to associate it with something like that, like skiing, part of the joy is that you don't know exactly which track you're going to be. You're laying you're making new tracks in the fresh snow kind of a thing. So if we can also use those moments of fear and recognize when we have times when fear is fun. Other people I've got friends who are weird, like roller coaster people, and they love that. So, maybe that's a great association that they can use. Maybe that works for one of you. It's not mine. I'll take skiing, but fun. And so here's some of the questions. So what I love is that the higher self can oftentimes quickly download blocks of information to you. And so I'd be curious to have you write down just a couple quick notes about what are some of the elements that bubbled up for you on things that you're clear that you would like to incorporate. Is there something new? Are there new skills that you would like to bring online? Is there a new area you would like to explore? And then some of the important questions are there things that no longer belong? Are there things that you would like to let go? So I like to think that life is, I used to do triathlon back in the day. This is like 2 lifetimes ago already, but back when I did, it was, you'd have 3 stages of the race. And you would get to go back to the home base where all your stuff was. So you swim and you come out all soggy, and your bike is ready for you. So you dry off, and then you change, put your bike clothes on, your shoes, and then you hop on for the next stage. We're at the next stage. And so I was going to use the word, it's a way station, but women, sometimes we get sensitive about the word way. I don't know why, but we're super good at judging our bodies in particular. And that's a whole nother story, but we need to bring our bodies online for this journey, because it's going to be exciting. But we're at this point in time where we get to calibrate into, okay, now I've got this juicy vision, and maybe it's not super clear, but I'm heading towards this new goal, or I'm headed towards, like me with whatever this calling is, unleash her power within, whatever my variation of wanting to reach tens of thousands of people with a message around this. I don't know what that could look like. And yet I have essences of that, right? I'm reaching more people. I'm seeing the, gratitude of liberation when they recognize that, dozens of years of self-flagellation of thinking we're not good enough, or we're not worthy enough, or these things that we've created protection mechanisms around ourselves because it was something that was needed, but that's an old story. And we've simply outgrown the old story. So if you can think of some of the old crash and burns you've had over your lifetime, and recognize the protection mechanisms that we used at that point in time, and just bring those up and say, we're repacking. We're going on the bike rides part of the stage. Like, does this belong on the bike ride or does it not? And I really believe that consciousness is rising, it's quickening, and we don't have to go into all the heaviness of the mental, masturbation of trying to, reconcile from a mental standpoint. We can just tap in with ourselves. Does this belong in this next stage or does it not? And, and energy work is amazing. We can quickly release some of that in a single session. And I also believe there's new technologies coming online that's going to allow even more do-it-yourself kind of techniques. So I know all of you here are versed in some of this conversation. So I'm sure you've got techniques, and this is a great time to just remind yourself of all the techniques that you've got. So what are some of the things? Here we've got our big, bold, beautiful life. Yeah, so what are the things we want to bring online of? What do we want more of? And what are some of the things that we want to leave behind? Are there changes? Are there other elements? Maybe there's people you want to bring in or bring out, kind of a thing. But it's super important right now that we become masterful with managing our attention, our focus, and our energy. So much of now when we want to think about coming online for manifesting this big, bold, beautiful vision, we want to make sure that our vibration is as high as possible. So it's time, like the 4 agreements, be impeccable with your word. So to me, the word is the word within yourself, that personal integrity. What are you saying? And oftentimes I think we've chipped away at this over time. And it's time for us to get intentional again with setting little micro goals towards this and begin it to once again build our self-confidence in ourselves being the one that has the esteem, seeing ourselves capable and deserving and worthy of having that which we say we are. And this is, Mark, I'd be curious to know, if guys have the same kind of thing, because I work with primarily women, but there's a generation of us, I believe, that came in with kind of this programming, and it was maybe for us to throw this cloak off on behalf of all. But those are 3, like I do energy work, and those are 3 themes that come up over and over again: is I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving. So I'd be curious to hear from your standpoint, representing all those divine men out there.
I'm not enough is a ubiquitous feeling for all men. We could work harder, we could be better, we can do more. And that was programmed into us at the very beginning. And the end result was that I became a workaholic that had to constantly create to prove my worth to others and therefore myself. And the transformation I've been through is that I no longer do anything to make somebody else happy. If they want to come along, enjoy and share my joy, I'm delighted to do that, but I don't do it on their behalf. And the end result is that I am no longer a human doing. I'm a human being.
Yeah.
And so by rejecting the warrior energy as my source of self-judgment of goodness, I have now balanced that with the lover divine feminine energy of creation, just for pure creation's sake. And boy, the difference is that I no longer have anxiety. I live in a constant state of peace. And my productivity, as measured by the outside world, is extreme, although I work less than 15 hours a week.
Awesome. And so here's one of the things I love is that we can just say, and I'll have that. It's almost like an energetic shopping. He's made this transition, and again, I can't wait to catch up with you more and hear all about this, but this is possible to us all. This is what's coming online. And it takes some divorcing of who we once were and all that incessant, like you said, the ubiquitous need to prove ourselves because of, one of my favorite, so I've got this 10-week course, and one of my favorite things is to do a visualization, and you see yourself as the baby coming in from, just being born. We were not born into, I'm not enough. We learned that along the way. And so that if we've learned it, we can unlearn it. And this is the time to unlearn that so that we can bring all these amazing gifts you have online and be working 15 hours a week and making the huge impact that we came here to be. And I love how you presenced all of that. I'm telling you, dude,
Thank you.
Yeah.
May I offer you a perspective?
Yes, please.
And this is just out of the depths of my love for you. I wish that you would stop using the word possibility and start using the word inevitability.
Ooh, okay.
Because it's not just possible, it is probable. And the fact that you join this group of women together makes it inevitable. And the next step is to do the work to make it real.
Yeah.
That's a gift that you can accept or not. Yeah,
I'll take it all. I am open to receive. And I love that, you know, when we're curious and open to for this site, I just love the group form, because I believe that we can't necessarily see, like you might have gum on the end of your nose or in the back of your head. We can't see that for ourselves. And so it's so important for us to have that reflection from outside, from others, that especially in a trusted circle like this, where we're all on that quest for evolution and personally evolving into the next better version of us, that's bringing more and more of those old threads in together into this beautiful fabric of who we're becoming next. So thank you. And yes, please, I'm always open for more and more awareness. So anyways, the next thing I kind of wanted to, and for some reason I'm not seeing it when I go to share. There it is. Okay. Oops. So I don't use this very often. Slide from beginning. Okay. I love this image though. To me, it just so beautifully captures this higher essence, this the inevitabilities that are all around us, but the pure potentiality, the field of pure potentiality, as Chopra would call it. Field of potentiality is how he would say it. But for us to be equally rooted into the earth, I believe that Mother Gaia is also something, another evolution that's happening, is that we have been separate from our origins and our connectedness with the earth. She's evolving as we are at the same time. And I love the little tentacles that kind of go down into the earth. Not only are we grounded into the earth, but she's here and can facilitate with us and for us. And I think a lot of times women, we hold on to our old poop, if you will, because we don't want to expel it and have it negatively impact other people. And yet the earth loves to recycle stuff. Like it takes cow manure and makes fertilizer out of it so the crops can grow. And so this is an invitation for you to feel free when we're doing the process or whatever, to let go of that, recognizing that the earth is here as a co-facilitator. At the same time, it wants to give energy and receive energy from us. And at the same time, there's this beautiful, I love the geometry, the sacred geometry that's here. And the possibilities truly are limitless. So that's an image I just love to bring online. This is kind of, to me, the magic trifecta for transformation. So we get the vision. So you kind of got a little bit of that essence, and Mark made it extra juicy. I'm going to have that 15-hour a week and the peace and joy and all of that. And we get to pick and choose when you hear somebody else's vision, like, oh, I want that too. So pick and choose. But so here, get that juicy vision. Usually I work this way around. Then we do the release to let go of some of the negative self-perceptions, the trapped emotions that we picked up along the way. The thoughts, feelings, and actions lead to the results. So we really want to get clear and impeccable. What are the thoughts, the feelings, and how are they impacting the actions that we are or aren't taking, so that we get the results that we truly want? So we want to go back and just kind of, like I was saying, this is repack time. Does this old thinking, do the old habits and patterns and processes work for you or not? We're either moving forward towards those goals, or we're maybe engaging in some things that are kind of putting on the brake while we're trying to hit the gas pedal at the same time. And then thirdly is nourish. So how do we lean more into things that support us? To me, it's about creating rituals, ritualizing, because our brain, that subconscious, really loves to put things on autopilot. So we want to stimulate the things that are in the subconscious and allow that to come online in a way that really nourishes and uplifts the vision that we're choosing. So I'm going to kind of, for tonight, I wanted to show you my take on what some of the elements are about this divine feminine that's coming online. And when we align with it is when we can accelerate, we can manifest with an accelerated rate, because it's just in alignment with who we are and who we came here to be, our gifts and talents coming online in a way that's just a beautiful contribution. So I'm going to kind of do some comparisons. On the left-hand side is what we've been operating from. It's almost like a different operating system for us. So the masculine up until now is a lot about competition and looking to win and looking to be number one. Or there's, sometimes we're aligning and agreeing with that, or we're resisting and reacting to that. So what I'd like to do as I run through there's going to be about 6 elements. I want you to focus on the right-hand side and consider, as this wave of the divine feminine is coming online, how some of these might ping for you. And it's like, have you been feeling like the lone wolf in your work and trying to push and do it all yourself? Or is it time to open for collaboration and allowing others to come in and support you? It's the divine feminine is more about looking for that win-win, like on behalf of all. So the second is that linear logical thinking, that getting the right answer. How many people are those perfectionists? That was me for a very long time, as a way to counter not feeling enough, and that was some of my dad programming, if you will. But now the divine feminine is about coming online with an intuitive knowing. When you know something, like that's what we want to get to. We get to follow the inner guidance and feel in your body. It might feel like it's an expansive or a light feeling that's coming online. The next is certainty. And this is kind of what I was talking about, being a meeting planning man. Boy, I was really great at knowing the plan and working the plan and seeing all the steps. But now the world's going to be upside down. Like, this new normal is going to be a little different than what we've experienced before. And the world that we want to create has never existed. So we're not going to be able to use the outside elements in order to put the pieces together in a way that makes sense. So we get to, once we're aligned with that intuition, it tells us, one of the gals who went through it, she was talking about the whispers. It's like listening to the whispers that are coming and trusting that. We get to build that trust over time by listening in and celebrating the times when it's guiding us right, which is always, if we listen. But to grow comfortable moving before the way is even clear. So the next is control. And I think the pandemic was really great for this. It was kind of fun because I don't necessarily consider myself a control freak, but just to watch some of the people who were, and boy, they've really struggled. Anybody here a little challenge with that, trying to control the situation? But now there's a sense that everything is allowing, and we get to come from a space of allowing and trusting that things are unfolding exactly as it should, that even the contrasting moments are there for refinement of our vision and helping us to recognize, okay, we're clear on what we don't want. Now let's get super clear and transmute that into a positive desire for exactly what it is that we do want. And there's a beauty and a peace, that inner peace that comes with that. I love that, Mark. So before stifled by fears from the past and worries for the future. So a lot of times we're either in resistance or reaction to, like, I'm going to pick on my sister for, my folks were a little divorced. There was, some drama early on in my days, and she became the rebel. So she was the rebel, I was the pleaser. So we can sometimes become the pleaser by aligning and agreeing with things, or sometimes we become the rebel and make decisions in spite of something. And that push energy keeps you away from making the decision that's actually right in alignment for you. So now the divine feminine is asking or inviting us to come from choosing. What if you could choose based on what feels joyful, opening to the infinite inevitabilities found in the present. And old dogs can learn new tricks, and none of us are old. We get to be ageless when we come online with this stuff too, guys. The creative energy that created all the cosmos is pulsing through our veins, and I truly believe that we can become ageless when we listen to that creative impulse that's happening through us. Our body are listening to every thought we're thinking, and reflecting how the feelings that we're having. So if we're thinking of in terms of the death and dying, or the limited, like retirement and kicking the bucket, or watching other people coming of age and physical decline, we've got that as an expectation. The body's going to follow that. Or we can plug into, I'm ageless. Like, how cool would it be? How vibrant would you be willing to live until you're 120 or whatever your number is? You're invited to my birthday party, by the way. 80 years old, we're going to be mountain biking. In fact, really close to where Mark's sitting right now. And we're going to have these really crazy lime green outfits on, and it's just going to be a hoot. So, struggles to change outer circumstances. So this is kind of what we were talking about, the outer. And I love Martin Luther King for this, because his most famous speech of "I have a dream," that it wasn't presencing, he wasn't pointing the finger at all the injustices of the day and trying to fight the establishment of what was going on at that moment in time. What he did was paint the vision of what it was possible. And he said, I have a vision for a day when, regardless of the color of our skin, we're sitting shoulder to shoulder, brother to brother. And we're here based on being judged by the quality of our character, not by the color of our skin. And I believe that's so instrumental in when we're looking at the things that are happening right now that we're not necessarily in agreement and alignment with. If we want to make a change in the world, you don't do it by fighting what's existing. And especially a lot of the institutions that are crumbling right now are happening. We don't want to fix the old broken system. We want to out-create. I like this word right here. We want to out-create. So initiate the transformation from within based on your vision of what you know to be possible, and out-create anything that's been in existence up until now. So again, as we run through those, consider the things on the right-hand side, make some notes of like, here's something, just pick up on some of the seeds of, mental contemplation for yourself, somewhere that you might want to stretch into. And then here's some of the things that up until now, and I like using transitional phrases like that. So a big one that I use is up until now. So women, like I said, this generation and personally, obviously, we're having this personal struggle with not feeling, self-doubt, like wanting to create something beyond where I've been up until now. Of course, self-doubt might be an element. And up until now, it's been programmed, but it doesn't have to be my operating system moving forward. So what would it take to step into owning your true value and recognizing I'm worthy? Nobody voted like Martin Luther King to become the leader of that movement. At some point in time, he saw what was necessary, and he saw within himself, if anybody can do it, it's up to us to do it. And so he, there's a self-anointing process that can happen. You can be that. So the next one, taking care of everyone else before ourselves. Again, women were naturally nurturers, and up until now, that's been a great way for us to have personal satisfaction and a certain identity. And especially women, when we get to this 50, 60 year mark, the creative energy that was put into raising the family or becoming that career woman or whatever we've been doing, that creative energy now is being ready to be channeled in new and different ways. And we've got to show up with a personal vitality and energy so that we can be ourselves. So when we're standing up and into these new roles, you are fully energized and fully aligned with who you are so that you can show up confidently and lead. So the next one, judging our bodies. This is probably just me, but anybody else? And it's almost like we judge them so much. We don't want to be that. We've got bits and pieces of our bodies and our lives that we've judged so bad that we wanted to hide it away in shame. And those things, anywhere that we've sliced and diced bits and pieces of ourselves as being acceptable, we're slicing away ourselves. And so this invitation right now is to bring those pieces back online. And I love, again, Brene Brown talking about shame. And when we bring that up to the light, there just doesn't need to be a whole lot of to do about it. It just needs to be exposed to the light, and it allows it to dissolve, and it can be raised. And what I like to think is brought back online into the wholeness of who we are, so that it actually becomes the thread of this beautiful fabric that is you. And it contributes to the beauty and the strength, turning your pain, your past pain, into your power. So just recognizing, what would it take for me to feel confident and vibrantly alive in my body again? Here's some of the questions. And here's the one that Mark kicked. He was doing the busy, busy, busy thing, working hard to prove the worth. And I'll have what he's having, working less, impacting more. And yes, please, earning more. Women, up until now, it's not been an even playing field. And especially those who are change makers, that I'm guessing you people are here that are called to this, the change makers and healers of the world. We've probably had a past life or two where we kind of got tarred and feathered, and that really hurt. So we were not wanting to be seen. So we have a vow of invisibility, and we also have a vow of, we didn't want to take money because we didn't want there to be a money trail, so that we couldn't get tracked down and kind of tied to the next stake. And it's time, like, what if everything's the opposite of what it once was? What if the safety was in being so busy that you're proving your worth? And what if now the safety is actually in being more of yourself, so that you can bring your value to the world in a bigger way? And that's now the safety, because you're able to impact more and earn more as a result. What if, instead of being invisible so that you're safe, what if now the real safety is for you taking the lead? It's time for leaders of transformation to step online, and that's the new safety. And as we lock arms together and march forward in our vision and our strength, we get to do this together, and we're safe. We are safe. And that's a whole that's a whole module. There's a whole list of different oaths and vows we may have taken in previous lifetimes. We kind of cast out into this like ripple of eternity. I will never do that again, and so there's lots of oaths and vows that we can do processes with and release that kind of stuff. But just recognize, you can come to an awareness about that. Like Joanna mentioned, the fear. It's like, okay, we don't even have to know specifically what that is. What's below the fear of what? Just bring it up and just allow yourself to know. You can invoke it to break that oath and vow, because now it's time to step more into this. So stifling emotions and feelings, women, oftentimes we don't communicate what we truly want because we don't want to rock the boat. And then we put a cork in it until now we got like a big explosion ready to happen. But we oftentimes will push that into our bodies and in ways that it's still there because we haven't processed it. And then it metabolizes in the body, and it can manifest later in physical pains. And so now it's just time for think of flow. So speaking our truth. No more apologizing, women. We are enough, and our feelings are justified. So if you're in a situation where you don't feel safe or you don't feel brave enough to recognize, ask yourself, how much of that is mine and how much of it is the company I'm keeping right now? And ask, how can I change that? Is it up for you to own that, or maybe you need to surround yourself with the people who are going to be recognize the you are becoming, and be your biggest cheerleader, supporter, and lover of that. This one's so old. With a pandemic, hopefully this was all 2020, the striving for perfection. Hopefully that went out the door. But truly just owning the gift of imperfection, like, again, a little Brene popping in there. And then putting off the joy and the play and the creativity for later. Like, I'll do it when I've got my homework done, whenever I've got my income enough, then I'll go and have fun. It's like, no, we need the creative impulse within us that is sparked only when we connect with what it is that brings us joy. And so play now, adventure now, travel now, find your joy list and do it every day. It's not a weekend thing. Don't be a weekend warrior. This needs to happen daily. And then again, I just can't say it enough around the peers, the people that you surround yourself. Your vibration is essential because it's the point of attraction from which you are able to attract that back into you, what you're putting out. So that the thoughts are an electrical impulse that go out. We've heard thoughts become things. That signals out to the universe, but we also need to be constantly nurturing the heart space on a magnetic. The impulse coming back is a magnetic resonance. So we want to make sure that we're constantly loving up ourselves, constantly, taking out the trash, contribute it to the earth, if you will. Any of those insecurities, the old ways, the habits of thought that we've had up until now that haven't been supportive to that big, bold, beautiful vision, and begin to move forward through that. The next thing I wanted to do is stop sharing is just a quick visualization about stepping through and releasing some of the emotions or thoughts that maybe haven't been serving us. So just wondering, what are we doing with folks? I feel like I've been talking a lot. Irina, are you there? Can I pick on you? Or who wants to chime in? What's going on? Miss Tammy, I see you. You're being seen.
Hello.
Does it feel safe to be seen?
No, not at all.
No?
Mm-mm.
Well, that's a perfect one. Let's presence that and let's zap that, okay? You want to breathe right into your heart space. Actually, if all of us could just contribute right now, and thank you for you're being the spokesperson for all of us, because we all have this within us, and we're going to channel just some love right now into that part of you that feels scared and unsafe and to be seen. So take a nice little breath, everyone, and just channel some love that way, a bit within ourselves. Recognizing up until now, all right. And actually the process I'm going to lead us through is going to speak exactly to that. So thank you for presencing that. That was perfect. And thank you for being brave, for staying on camera. I recognize that that's no small feat, actually. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So I'm looking through my notes. I got chatting and wasn't following along in my notes. Look at Joanna's beautiful picture that she's created. So Joanna's stepping into being more of a transformational coach, and she's done her first summit, and she's doing online events, and it's a whole talk about being seen. I'm sure that's had some growing pains, let's just say.
That's what I call it, my growth spurts. And then the growth spurts is the pain. And that's what my first event was, turning my pain into my power. And it's just that. It's like so many things have happened throughout life that kind of the role I took, just not being seen. It was nurturing my family, nurturing my husband, nurturing a job. And now I left my job, I left my husband, and my kids are grown, so it's all about me. And those growth spurts was a lot of pain, but being able to live my big, beautiful, bold, beautiful life, I had to go through every drop of it to be that person that has to shine for everybody else. So I'm grateful for the pain. And like I say, because I'm a massage therapist, I'm in school for acupuncture, and it shows up in our body. That pain shows up in our body. So that's what took me the route of the energy work and working with the body so closely, because my body was on fire more so than anything else. And that's what caught my eye. So
I mean, on fire, like not in a positive way.
Not in a positive way. I mean, I've had torn shoulders. I've had 2 knee surgeries. I need hip surgery now. It's like just so many little things, but working through, like you're saying, I'm understanding how I created these things for myself. And it's from being scared of being seen. I caused myself to, kind of create pain.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And I love helping people decipher what the body things are saying. It's sort of like Louise Hay pioneered back in the 80s, but it's advanced so much further of, it can be so literal too. Bodies are amazing the way they speak, like shouldering everybody else's responsibility, or the moving forward with the knees, or those kinds of things. But Brene, I keep picking on her tonight. I guess she's my Brene's got a beautiful thing. I believe it's when we're not moving forward in the creative capacity in which we're being called to, when we're stagnating in that way, and we might be holding on to it because of the childhood fears or need for perfection or proving or whatever. If we're not in that creative expression, then it makes me think of acupuncture in a way. Like, we're designed to be this open flow. The emotions should come and go, and that flow of creativity should always be active and alive within us too. And when we stagnate, we kind of just pinch it off. Like, the source is always there, it's always contributing to us, and when we pinch it off, we're the only ones who can. We pinch it off, then that physical pain, it's giving us messages, and if we don't listen, it'll get louder and louder. So yeah, when you get to some big ones, then you really haven't been listening. But as soon as you do, look at you. Yeah. And the talking about growing pains, when we have it in the perspective of where we're going, it's like, oh wait, I'm pulling off the band-aid, but it's in service to this bigger vision. It's like, oh, I can go through the pain of letting go of the old relationships that don't serve me, the friendships, or the husbands, or the jobs. It's like, wow, that brought me a lot of that was one of mine. I had my business for a long time, and I loved it. And it was hard to give it up, but in service to this bigger vision, not that I even know fully what it is, but it's like, I've got this calling that is so clear to me that I get to move it on. So transformation experiences can be interpreted as pain. That's true. Or as sensations of growth. Yeah. So having it in that perspective of, this is where I'm going. I'm like, okay, rip that Band-Aid off, because we're evolving on up, and it's our time. It's our time. So speaking of pain, let's do a little visualization. And one of Tammy's gifts, we met through the emotion code. So the emotion code is all about the ways in which our trapped emotions stuck in the body because we didn't process it up until now, and the body will speak to that. So with the emotion code, we use muscle testing to identify the emotions. The muscle testing is tapping into the body's innate wisdom. It knows what's right for us. And so when we can remember that and use the body to guide us, that, muscle testing is one way, but there's other ways. Like, I can have a conversation with my body and just know, oh, do you want to go for a walk, or are we doing something else? Like, it can guide you in so many different ways. So the emotion code is kind of like what we'll be walking through in a different way here, but just inviting yourself to let go of the emotion. And it happens almost like it can happen like a wave, for us to be able to develop the capacity to sit in the discomfort of what's coming up. Like Matt Kahn says, whatever comes up, love that. Just give love to that. And so the process that we're going to go through, I don't know if you've heard, like, when people have the near-death experiences, and they're going over and they come up in the white light, and that they always talk about the unimaginable or indescribable sensation of unconditional love, like a love beyond what we can even begin to fathom with our little human brains down here, right? So that's going to be where we start. So if we'll take a moment and take some nice deep breaths again, maybe breathing out anything that's kind of been kicked up or just no longer serving you at this moment in time. Some nice deep breaths. Calling in, pulling in, right back to the heart space. Imagine that sense of that white light, the felt sense of that unconditional love, a love that's beyond this human experience, a divine love, love that we're connected to all the time, simply by using our awareness, our intention, our focus, allowing that to fill the heart space, amplifying it. Imagine as big as you can, allowing that to fill your body. Using the power of your breath to amplify that sensation. Again, filling every one of the 9 trillion cells in your body, tingling with this unconditional love, highest vibration possible, the white light. Imagine, if you can, a nice deep breath, multiplying that by a factor of 10 times more love, high vibes, white light, expanding out. Again, multiplying it one more time, another factor of 10. Now imagine an area when you were thinking about your big, bold, beautiful life that felt like a little friction, a little fear, a little uncertainty. Can you put a word to that? Is it a feeling? Is it an emotion, a sensation? Now ask yourself, when was the first time you remember feeling that, experiencing that, fearing that? How old were you? Doing a little time travel back to that time and space, imagining the you then, there, experiencing that, the fear, the uncertainty. You envision yourself coming in, perhaps that you has been laying in hiding, waiting, knowing someone would come. And here you are, having that young you welcome you with open arms. Hope for you taking a breath and sharing some of that unconditional love you've brought. Asking that young self, how do you feel? What do you need? What do you yearn for most? Imagine yourself as the young you, still uncertain, still clinging. Is there something more? Or she may be ready to come back with you. Taking your hand. Imagine using that white light, kind of like a white rainbow bridge. Walking hand in hand now, the you now, filled with this unconditional love, hand in hand with this younger you that was there, waiting. As you ascend, getting lighter and lighter. The old fears, the unresolved emotions dissipating into the light. Unconditional love transmutes everything back to the wholeness, back into you, into the divine you. As you come across this rainbow down to the other side, speaking of divine you, here she is waiting for you. Now, all three of you at the base of this white rainbow coming together. How would you come together? How would you celebrate? What would you love to share with one another? Is there anything more to be said? Anything more you require? What would you give up to the light? Allowing that to happen fully now. Taking a breath, allowing it to be so, declaring it's complete. This is truth. It is done. The word amen meaning, and so it is. All right. Taking a nice breath. I don't know. Mark, what are you doing over there?
I am just sitting here in absolute bliss, enjoying the experience of the love that you project and this amazing community that you have surrounded with yourself, each of whom I sense has big work to do, but it won't be work at all.
We need a new word for this, don't we?
And I don't mean work on yourself. I mean, you have something that's important to the universe, to the healing, to the bringing of the new world. Each one of you has something critical. You have a divine path. I sense that from every one of you. And so I celebrate the work that you are doing to help lead these beautiful light workers to release the power that is within them, so that they can do what they've been divinely called to do and what they have been ordained to do, so that we can all benefit.
Yeah. Beautifully said, because it's our time. And the light workers of the world, like, we've been in hiding for a good reason for a good long time, and it's time to our coming out party, and it's not easy to do alone. And so I'm looking at the where I did my Facebook Live last night. I walked out and the grass has grown, and all of a sudden these flowers, they look like Elizabethan lace. I don't know what they are. They're weeds, but they're all like over my head right now. And it was funny because the poppy syndrome, like, who wants to be the first like light worker to come out of the closet, if you will. But it's like now they've all grown up at the same time, and now it's this beautiful forest with all these beautiful, they're weeds, but beautiful flowers all together, and it's safe. It's their time, it's our time. And when we do this together in a way, but it's so important for us to be super intentional with the energy that we are channeling within ourselves. We need to show up our most authentic aligned selves. It's important that we surround ourselves with a community like this. It's important that we have some grace as we evolve into this next version of who we're being called into being, so that we can be in service in this way and give our gifts. That to me is, the new success. Success before was kind of these outward metrics. Now success is more like in fulfillment of bringing our full gifts and talents online and giving them readily to the world in a way that's meaningful to us. And not that we need to do it all. I think a lot of times, that was another healer vow, that maybe we felt like we needed to heal the whole world. That's not for us. We get our piece. And you get to select what kind of piece you want. You want pumpkin pie, you want apple pie, you get the rhubarb pie, do you want some ice cream on that? So just pick your element in life and devote yourself to that, and dance in the becoming of. This isn't meant to happen overnight, although once we are in full alignment, it can happen quickly. So I like to talk in terms of accelerated manifestation and just declare that as an intention. I'm having that. And we get to call that into being within ourselves and allow those the I like to think of 10,000 angels are up there ready to assist us, and we forget to ask, and nobody else is asking either. So when we ask, we got 10,000 angels. We got everybody else's angels because they forgot to ask too. So we got these unemployed angels waiting to shed all kinds of coincidences, serendipities, gifts, talents, whatever you require. Like, they are there. There's more than enough. Whatever you require is here for our calling upon. And so that's kind of the thing. From here, for anyone who's interested, I recognize that together we rise, essentially, and that's how I got to creating what it was that I've been called to right now. And I'm just going to do a quick little introduction about what La Femme Salon is all about. I call it 10 weeks to find your fire, freedom, and fulfillment. And here's the thing. So I'm going to tell you about the elements of it. And so whether you choose to join me in this way or recognize the elements that are necessary to grow. But the fire element is, we all have that fire within, and it's time for us to kind of dust that off, recognize that even if we're feeling like we're in the ashes right now, that ember is alive and well within you, and to recognize and nurture what that is, the things that bring you joy, whether that, it doesn't need to be, the life calling bit of that, but what is it? I love the Howard Thurman's quote, don't ask what you can do for the world, ask what brings you fully alive, because what the world needs now is people who come fully alive. So that fire is what brings you fully alive. The freedom aspect of that is that second piece of letting go, the freedom of all the old ways in which we've judged ourselves into the ashes, the unworthiness, the how much energy have we spent? If we didn't have to continually prove how worthy we are or that we're enough, like, oh my gosh, can you imagine taking all that energy and channeling it into like whatever this forward path is for ourselves? So the freedom is the freedom from all the self-judgment, the freedom from the negative, the unsupportive thoughts and habits that we've had up until now, the identities that no longer are in service of this next version of our whatever we're up to next. So freedom of that. And then the fulfillment, again, this is that switch from the outward success into what brings the fulfillment, the personal, and that can only be defined by you. And so there isn't a course where you can learn that, because this is such an individual journey for each and every one of us. And I believe it's a very vibrational journey for us. It's for us to stay in an elevated vibration so that we can attract that, you get this big juicy vision and it's a level 10, it's up here. And if we're not impeccable with our personal energetics, if you're vibrating at an 8, you're not going to quite get there, or maybe you'll get there for a time and then you slip back down, and we kind of got this kind of a thing going. But when you can begin to become the person who is having it, that's when you're in alignment, and manifestation can happen quickly. So that to me is what the fulfillment aspect of all that is. And then, so what I've created with La Femme Salon, it's a 10-week process. We meet twice a week because it's a vibrational attunement, if you will, to become the one that is having it. So we get clear on what it is, get that juicy vision. Let's stretch it even bigger than we thought possible, because truly, there is no magnitude to miracles. So if you're going to be dreaming, you might as well dream big. So go for it. Like, what is the wildest dream you would have for the impact you'd like to make? And then you've got this amazing posse of people who are going to be the wind beneath your wings as you are developing the self-identity to know yourself to be that one. And when you slip, you got this landing pad, like they're going to lift you. You're not going down anywhere. So the vibration to me is very important. So that's why we meet twice a week. And it's just about stepping into this divine feminine, opening ourselves to receive in ways that we haven't up until now, and just nurture that sense of self in great community. The community is really important. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So I've got a group that's starting. It'll be July 12th. It's 10 weeks. So that'll take us through September. And it's kind of magical, the things that happen. It's super fun. My favorite thing about La Femme, just people come in for everybody's got different goals. Some people don't even know what their goals are. Some of it's, they want money, they want new jobs, they want, and everyone, the first thing that they'll say that they came away with is that sense of self-love. It's going to make me cry because that's the cornerstone for all of this. And we've been missing that for too long. So nurturing that, strengthening that, and then I love the transitions that happen in the 10 weeks. Like week 8, man, magic is happening. But what I love even more, I just touched base with all the gals that went through the first crew, and to hear what's happening in their lives 2 and 3 years later, because this isn't, when you change the identity of who you are being and see yourself, know yourself to be, it changes the trajectory of your life. So you're not just like reaching a goal and, there's no plateaus. It's like you change the trajectory, and it just keeps evolving. Your life keeps unfolding in ways that you could not have anticipated at the point of which you started. So yeah, that's possible and even inevitable for all of us. Set that intention, call it in, know yourself to be the one. Like, God would not play the cruel trick to give you a dream and then say, no, your legs are too short to get you there. You have all you need within, and you can conjure the rest. You can align and download all you need in order to move forward confidently in the direction of these dreams. So that is my biggest just wish for each and every one of you to come away with that, knowing that you are it, and it's there for you. So anyways, yeah, kind of quiet out there. We're happy to have it. Oh, thank you. And so Tina popped in the chat for anyone interested. There's actually, it's you do it by application, because there's questions, and the questions help you to get clear about what it is that you're calling in. And I'm kind of picky about the people I put together, although I don't really need to. So far, I haven't ever had to mix and match. Like, the universe seems to pull together the women that are on the same quest at the same time. It's just been uncanny. Each of the groups has been just dynamically different, and all of them have a certain synergy. It's just been magical, and it's my great pleasure. And if anyone's called to continue on the journey, I would love to have you join and explore that to be possible for yourself. So anyways, and I'm always game for connections with light workers on whatever level. So thank you. Oh, I do have the days chosen. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays coming up, and it'll be at 4 o'clock Mountain Time. So those are the days. Good question. Does anybody want to chat? Anybody? We're complete.
Kathy, you've done a magnificent job pulling this together and articulating. I've forgotten how delightful it is to be in your presence, and I'm so happy to be reminded of how much I love you and why I love you. And so I support this. I don't think I'll probably be part of the group because
okay.
I have male genitalia. But that said, I support you every way I can, and I do have some perspectives for you that I think can accelerate this.
Awesome. Let's chat. For sure. Miss Robin, what's happening in your beautiful world?
I did the forum about, I don't know, years ago, and some of the follow-up trainings afterwards. And in one, we had to say who we are as a possibility. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't thought about that in a long time. People were getting up there, who I am is a possibility that children live wonderful lives, and who I am is a possibility that puppies are saved, and that kind of thing. And I said, and it came to me over the meal before, I said, who I am as a possibility is people living lives led by grace. Mm. And the whole room went, oh. Which was very cool. It was very cool.
And really powerful.
Yeah, so I hadn't thought about that in a while, and I really appreciate revisiting that and thinking, yeah, that is pretty, my wild, crazy vision is that track of the essential self living here on the planet.
I love that. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. All right. All right. And I guess with that, we're complete. I love what a beautiful note that is, to live with grace. Amen, sister. I wish you world of success with that too. And that's right where we're heading. Despite what does it say? Things may look smaller in the rear view mirror, like things may look a lot more chaotic in the mirror right now, but that's truly coming online for us. So anyways, thank you again all for spending the time here, and yeah, love to each of you. Go and shine that light, that little light of yours, right? Should cue up the song. Awesome. All right. Well, have a good evening. Bye all.